Good evening to all of you in the digital media, a paradigm shift. With respect to AR, VR, mixed reality, XR, and AI, artificial intelligence. We have our guest presence here with this webinar, Dr. Sabir Ahmed, Head Department of Mass Communication and Media Studies. He is going to introduce our guest panel, and then we're going to discuss the preamble first, and then we'll discuss further.
And research. He is the champion. He's a great. He's a great long time. I think he spent 24 years in digital media and immersive technologies. Second, I would like to introduce Mr. Waleed Thanvi. He is a creative director at Geo Television, as well as he has a lot of experience in digital media marketing and animation. On the other hand, I have Dr. Adnan. Dr. Adnan has more than 30 years experience in digital media marketing field and cryptography and AR VR. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rosa. Now I'm going to give a brief preamble regarding today's webinar. As COVID-19 has already chucked us towards digital transformation, and no one expect to buy it so rapidly, though it's been 1 year. The revolutionary changes have been come and brought to all of us. The technology we are going to discuss today, it's actually going to alter what we do and who we are. Those who are accepting implementing advanced technologies for working, sharing, and collaboration will decide the fate of race. Well, beside digital media advancement, there is a paradigm changing advancement with the emergence of virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, extended reality, and the artificial intelligence technologies. These technologies are reshaping the current dynamics of digital media through integration of physical and virtual objects at various levels. The smartphones and portable devices made easy for interactive physical virtual connections that evolved a different kind of hybrid experience. However, these advancements are shifting the physical and the virtual environment of virtual experience of individuals. So far, we have found that there are particular industries have been transforming towards these technologies that are tourism, education, healthcare, entertainment, museum, marketing, and research. Lastly, reports we have said the purchase of these technologies from 2017 to 2021 is going to be expand our beyond our expectations. It was in 2017 1.5 billion US dollar, and will expect by 2021 above 9.1 billion dollars. So these are the technologies we are going to discuss today here. First of all, we need to understand what actually VR, AR, XR, MR, and AI is. So now I would like to start from Dr. Kyle Yarvinan, that first intake from you, what actually these technologies are.
Oh, yeah, thank you, and thanks for having me. So there's this idea of a virtuality continuum, and so this is from a paper, academic paper in the 90s, where it's one way to understand like these technologies relationship to reality, so that if you have this physical reality that we inhabit in our own physical spaces here, if it's on one end, then you take sort of steps towards virtual reality, which is the technology that basically we put a headset on and it encompasses us. It sort of, we embody a virtual environment. And there in the between, we have augmented reality, which takes our surroundings, the world as a content, if you will, and enhances it with 3D images, three-dimensional objects and information. And then mixed reality is a bit of a, there's not really a clear definition, but typically when people talk about mixed reality, they position it on this continuum, like between virtual reality and augmented reality. And the idea there is that with mixed reality, you can sort of project things from the physical world, for instance, motion capturing people or using volumetric capture and place them in a virtual environment. And then also this idea of ubiquitous computing, that there are sensors in the physical world that understands what happens in the virtual world, if that makes sense. So typically mixed reality is kind of, well, as the term says, sort of mixing these different levels of reality. So I hope that makes sense as a quick introduction to this technology. Obviously, VR typically is engaged in a headset. AR, I think for most people at the moment is familiar from mobile smartphone AR, but it's going towards different display technologies. So AR glasses is the thing that is very much like the buzzword at the moment, that when are we going to see consumer level AR glasses?
That's very good, very nice. But how do you think that the MR and the XR, the extended reality technology, they are actually the same technology, or there is a difference between the MR and XR?
Well, yeah, it's a bit of a conceptual model, in the sense that people use these terms in a slightly different way. So often people use XR as a kind of like an umbrella term for all of these, so that the X is almost like a variable in front of the reality. Some people use XR more specifically to refer to what I just tried to explain as mixed reality. So it really depends on who you talk to, and that does create some confusion most of the time. But the way I tend to use this is that if I talk about XR, then I try to sort of think about so-called immersive technologies as a whole, and what is both similar to different to them. So what is different to AR in comparison to VR, and so on and so forth. I actually don't use the mixed reality term that much, but maybe that's just like a personal preference. I try to be quite specific most of the time.
That sounds good. That's good. I would like to ask Sohali Thanvi that how these technologies are going to evolve revolutionary industrial development, and is specific to marketing and education. Besides that, if you wanted to add something, as Mr. Akhar Javanal has already discussed about the technologies, what AR, VR, and AI is.
Actually, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me in this valuable group discussion. It's been like 20, 25 years I've been working in the field of animation and graphics and CG industry. And I see AR and VR as a revolution and a new dimension to the future of animation and graphics, and all over the world, computer imagery, science. And I think that it is the future, because for example, you know that I belong to TV channel industry, and I've worked a lot in the TV commercial industry as well. Right now working in one of top of the line TV channel, and there we see a lot of implementation of virtual reality and augmented reality. Mr. Ike Jarvin, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name in a right way, corrected way, has known a lot about mixed reality and extended reality. And I am limited to AR and VR, because I myself have implemented virtual reality in some of the production of the channel. And then we came to know that this might will change the structure of the channel. And in future, we might not be needing so much resources when we have a virtual reality. For example, I am on animation side, and I am the vendor for VR and AR and a service provider. So what we do there, if I tell you about the process, what we do there, we have started working on making assets for virtual reality set designs, and based on virtual reality and augmented reality, and we are producing those sets there on the actual ground, and inviting our host to be there on the whole computer generated real time computer generated environment. There is nothing there, and just only the host and a green background. That's it, and everything is happening there. Even we can introduce and add, which I should call augmented reality, and another character or a sports star or a TV star with that anchor, which is actually not there in reality. And in this way we can, for example, we have specifications for we are trying to change uh, our environment broadcast and our hosting procedures. In future, what we are looking at is that we might not have any host, a physical host, uh, on the podium or on the counter, and the news will break with the addition of computer generated character, just having the voiceover of that host. And in this way we can also hide the identity of the person who can break the news, plus uh, and in this way many channels have started looking forward, buying
Sir,
virtual reality cameras and all the assets. So there is
sir,
a lot of possibility
okay.
and a lot of scope in our channel industry, because we are completely, we are going to change completely in future with the combination of the animation assets, is computer graphics assets and virtual reality system, and then we will combine them, and we will use VR and AR for our productions in future. And that's the way it is, because you see, if we go for any set design, it will take millions and millions of rupees for
Yes, sir.
us to establish a set, and then produce any segment of any program. But with virtual reality and augmented reality, and with this technology, it, I think, is a one-time investment, and we can, of course, with a lot of variations, change the set episode by episode, and we will have the full control. So actually my channel, from where I belong, has already bought
Yes, sir.
a lot of equipment regarding virtual reality, and I hope that other parties and other channels are also doing that.
Sir,
So
what's the
this is
concept of hologram technology?
hologram is actually not completely introduced in Pakistan, except if you see, I don't want to get into some political discussion, but there is a party here in Pakistan who has
Yeah,
bought hologram technology,
yeah, people start.
and the hologram technology has basically 2 points. One is where the actual physical performance is going to happen, and the person is there. For example, if I tell you, if the person, for example, if there is a leader in this case, what is happening in Pakistan, because of the security point of view, a person is uh, actually leading and giving a speech from one destination, but he is also present on the other destination where actually the whole concert is going on. So, hologram is also a set of equipment which is actually installed at the location, and it has a number of cameras with it, and more the number of cameras, more accurate the result is. and it is in in the 3D environment, and all the cameras are posted in a way with a skill set of posting those cameras. And then hologram, what hologram does is take your real time footage and project it on the destination you want to be projected. And it's nothing but it's a 3D, it's a 3D
It's a
holographic
simulation environment, 3D environment.
simulation
Yeah,
of what you
in a
are
real
actually.
environment.
Yeah. So in this way, as far as political parties are concerned, they are
Thank you so much, sir. So here I wanted to ask Dr. Nan, if you are there with us. So as already so Tanvi has discussed what these technologies are going to be changed as revolutionary. But my concern is that from his point of view, what will be the authenticity of the news when we are going to transform the technology and we use VR or AR for the newscasters on news breaking, and how it will going to affect on the economical conditions of a country like us.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you for inviting me in this podium. Your webinar is really, really good. Your question is regarding application of AR in
VR.
new society,
Yeah.
AR, VR in media society. Okay, so I have basically compiled a complete set of a lecture regarding that. But right now, basically, if the 2021 application in this technology is using augmented reality by the help of reporters. Okay, reporters are basically moving from one location to another location. So the camera is placed on their heads or on their basically they are wearing some sort of a helmet type of thing, and augmented reality tell them where they are going, where they are heading towards, what's the actual scene they saw. I will share this video, 2021 video of augmented reality with you in this webinar. Number second is the virtual reality. Virtual reality is mean a artificial environment provided to the real environment, which will cause an impact to the audience how they see in the. I'm going to explain a simple thing. Let's say you want to shoot in Switzerland. It is really expensive for you to go over there. But the thing is that if you are in Pakistan and then because of the virtual reality, by the help of Promeka, you can basically put an environment actually and place that director over there. So it will be easy for me. It is very, very cheap, and most of the time Hollywood, most of the videos, most of the films are using this technology right now. And Mr. Sabir, he knows it more than me because he's a doctorate in this line. But the thing is that virtual reality, augmented reality is a hot topic in artificial intelligence. And for this purpose, I have developed a video which depicts from media sciences to application of AR in defense industry as well. Even I'm going to explain Trivago. Trivago is a market application of hotel management systems. Later, if you ask me, then I will provide you the complete detail about it using fuzzy logics.
So definitely we are going to arrange a separate webinar, a separate conduct on this topic with you.
Inshallah.
Here, I just wanted to ask again, Dr. Akayanu Javinan, that what do you think that the film, as I refer, Ready Player One, you might have seen, it's actually based on AR and VR technology. All the world is going to be like this, and what type of effect it will cause to the our industries, especially to the marketing and the education industry?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's certainly big entertainment and corporations, especially in the West, that are kind of like trying to achieve what basically fiction like Ready Player One is illustrating. And so if you think about massively successful video games like Fortnite, which has sort of grown beyond a game. It's currently hosting concerts for sort of multi-million audiences real time, and Epic Games, who are developing Fortnite, are definitely sort of thinking about the roadmap for that product as a so-called metaverse that would sort of bring all kinds of media and audiences together into this immersive experience. At which point would they move from like screen-based media to these display technologies that augmented reality and virtual reality are using? That's really a question that is very much dependent on how the consumer technology of these things develops, and I don't expect that to happen in the well, maybe in the next 10 years, but I do think that people's habits, broadly speaking, are very much still focused on these like rectangles that we look in front of us. But I do think that the whole idea of a metaverse or cyberspace, however you want to call it, currently also brings along quite a lot of, for instance, privacy issues. So there's been a bit of a controversy with, for instance, the latest Oculus Quest headset from Facebook regarding how their terms of and conditions, how they want to collect data. And as we know, platforms like Facebook do use the data to sell basically marketing and advertisements, and of course their upside is for the advertisers is that they enable targeting in such a granular way that you are able to actually reach your target audience. And now if from clicks and scrolls and websites and things, if we proceed to, for instance, motion data and like a fingerprint of a person in a much more comprehensive way, it's something, and eye tracking, for instance, with the headsets, I think that's a world where more and more people are increasingly uncomfortable with that kind of a personal data being harnessed for marketing purposes. On the other hand, if we flip the coin and go to the sort of potential for education, I'm a big believer in what is unique to, for instance, virtual reality is that it's able to create this sense of presence in a virtual environment, and it's an embodied presence. We feel as if we would be physically in that virtual space, and therefore any learning experience that is embodied in nature, for instance, if it's a training thing where you have to learn a sequence of things that you do physically, or even mentally, if it sort of relates to things in the world outside there, like objects and other people, then virtual reality can be very powerful in training people. And there is early research on that impact that, it also then, of course, helps in sort of doing things across distance as we are doing here now, but in a way that, okay, whereas previously an organization who wants to train their employees might have to, send those people to the headquarters, and they would need to travel, and then they would take the training there in the physical facilities. Now, if those facilities and the task and the things that to be learned are reproduced with the means of virtual reality, and the employers have headsets and that connectivity, then it's not like that virtual reality, for instance, as a technology or solution would create new revenue streams for businesses, but it's going to save money. It's already saving money in lots of enterprise applications through remote management and remote collaboration. And that's, yeah. So,
Dr. Khai, I want to ask one question. How we can utilize this technologies for entire society?
Well, yeah, that is a good question. I think it comes down to just adoption. And of course, the technologies, current consumer technologies are quite expensive. And they are like, it's, if sort of an average person has a certain budget to spend for like media and technology and entertainment and self sort of development, currently obviously people will gravitate towards those things that they are accustomed with and they're used to learning with. And now there's this increasing sort of So where do we reach that sort of tipping point where these technologies become affordable enough so that we can talk about mass adoption? And even then, they are different in the sense that they require different means of interaction. If you kind of try to leverage the benefit of these technologies, then you collect as for instance an interaction designer or a content developer, you need content creator, you need to embrace that spatial 3D aspect of that these technologies enable, and not just like do things according to the conventions of a touch screen or a website. So there's lots of sort of upskilling also in terms of when do content creators and producers tap into the actual sort of inherent nature of this media. And currently we are seeing quite a lot of this sort of transition where people take conventions from screen-based media and bring them into these virtual spaces, and they are not necessarily the most optimal and engaging user experiences. And so it's kind of like this, both the development of design and content, and then the affordability of the technology has to come sort of meet at a point where there's this sort of moment of inflection where we can start to really talk about mass adoption, and that brings the sort of broader impacts to society with it.
Thank you so much. Sir Walid Fanvi, I will ask you a question, but first of all, I just, as a sense of humor, I wanted to ask, uh, what do you think that the future of marketing of our food industry, can we feel the test of the products through these technologies before we are going to purchase it? The original question is, what opportunities these technologies will brought up to us, and what are the challenges these technologies going to be faced uh, in society, especially like us?
Actually, if you just get aside media, which we have talked a lot about, and if you go into other parts and areas of for consumers, and you see that virtual reality is equally capable, and right now it is working. We have examples that they are implementing virtual reality concepts and technology in real estate business, in
Yeah,
medical treatment, in gaming. Of course, if you have heard about Pokemon Go,
yeah,
one of the most popular game, which was based on augmented reality. And as far as the senses are concerned, it God knows. I mean, you see, sky is the limit. I mean, they are actually providing all the gadgets and devices, not only for a comprehensive virtual view, but also for the senses like vibration, and they may come up with smell, and that's what I predict and expect from them. And as far as the taste is concerned, I don't know, because this is a virtual food. I mean, we cannot eat that virtual food and get
yes.
all acquainted with it. But uh, I basically at this point can say only one thing, that, for example, in the business of real estate, what if a person comes to a client comes to the real estate agent, and that real estate agent equipped him with the HMD, the head mount set, provided by any company, and the program is there of virtual reality, and that client and that real estate agent uh, allows him and welcome him in the virtual tour of a project which has not been started yet, so he can go and feel it. Even for example, on our side, we can provide assets to them uh, with computer imagery and models, 3D models and animation, where he can also, with the gadgets, hand arms gadgets and everything, can open the door and close the door, and if he can hear the voices and sounds of the real world while opening and closing the door, or the sound of the steps. So he is actually there virtually in the environment, and this is the best way of marketing. What else we can do? I mean, when if I put you there and you can feel it, and then I think that I don't have to be, I don't have to take support of words now. Everything is imagery, and it is all around you. Similar is the case with medical treatment. People are getting trainings. Even there is a college, King's College in London, these guys are have cutting edge technology, VR technology, and these guys are making successful treatments of bipolar disorders, and patients are showing about 90% result when they are treating them with virtual reality. How they do it, we have to go there, but I know that they are treating them. And same is the example of military simulations and architecture. And I mean, sky's the limit. The virtual reality and augmented reality, what I know is that if implemented properly, will change the dimension and the concept of marketing, because it will speak for itself, and you don't have to do anything. You have to be prepared. You do your homework, you transport it to your HMD, and just plug in with the
Yes.
with your client, and that's it. It will be taken away from you and will be taken by virtual reality and augmented reality supported devices and softwares like Unity and AR. You see,
Yes.
augmented reality is the future. People are working on AR. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, we are not concentrating on these technologies
I,
to the extent we should be. I mean, this is when you threw this group discussion, I was amazed, and I'm impressed that actually somebody is talking
Thank you.
about it.
yes, thank you,
So
sir.
you're most
I
welcome.
want to ask Adnan, what's the future of these technologies in Pakistan?
So I will add on the question with the Dr. Saab questions. How education institutes going to develop their strategies towards these advanced technologies, and what baby steps they have needed to take now?
Okay, your question is really interesting. And before answering the question, I'm going to explain application of artificial augmented reality in the field of medicine, in the field of education, in the field of hoteling, in the field of tourism, in the field of military application, in the field of travel and tour, in the field of Disney World and cartoon animation. Okay, these are the applications of AR and VR. Even if you want to learn, or if you want to basically drive a car, you can use Acura. Acura is a technique in which they placed a camera on a car, and they put a camera, basically VR, on your eyes, and the whole scenario will be changed. Then you are going to drive your car. It's a very good thing. If you want to see, Acura is a really good thing, and it will give you new, basically the new innovation in the field, in this field. The second thing is that basically the animated live texting text. Okay, if you want to teach anyone, if you want to teach mathematics, if you want to teach anything, let's say he's going to write 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. Okay, because AR, this technology is proposed by Disney Research. Disney Research is basically a giant in this field, and then they're going to change the learning procedure by providing this thing. You can check. The topic is live texturing AR by Disney Research. It's a new thing. It's a new research which will change the texting and learning procedures. Number three. This is very important for travel and tourism. That is called hyper reality. Hyper reality, if you place just like a Google Glass is basically a type of glass which provides you the complete information. But the hyper reality adds something more than anything else. It provides you direction where you have to go, rights and wrong, market direction, green signal, red light signal, each and everything is a new thing. It basically, Google Glass is a subset, and the hyper reality of AR is a superset. It changed everything. Okay, I'm going to second Mr. Thanvi comment. Then in the near future, everything will be changed, and then we are going to live in an artificial world, and then artificial world will provide us in-depth information about each and every scenario, like education, like traveling, like driving cars, like texting, like eating food, like hotels and tours and travel, as well as even if you want to book a hotel, or if you want to book a flight. Okay, artificial intelligence is there, and basically I'm teaching this subject, so I know how things are going to be changed in near future, just like Trivago do, just like any other fast searching hotel industry do, or education sector. Basically, is in near future you may see there is no need of faculty members there. AR gives you complete information. 2 + 2 is equal to 4 is equal to 5. The student can see right or wrong their message, each and everything. Is a really good thing. You have to see live texting by AR through by Disney Research. This is the thing. I will going to share its link also with you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sorry, the last, Kaya, I just wanted your last comments, and especially all this discussion we have already done here. What do you think? What would be the social disparities and impact will be of these technologies if we totally move on to these technologies? There will be a more of employment issues and other things issues. The people who are not able to move on it, as already you have said that these technologies are very expensive. Is it any possibility that these are going to be in affordable prices, come to affordable prices?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at the history of technology, I mean, there's these certain themes of sort of, for instance, miniaturization. So things get smaller and lighter, and we've seen this over the last decade how things are getting more wireless, even with the technologies that we use for this webinar, for instance. So it will come. But I would like to use this quote from a historian of technology that I like, that we tend to overestimate the impact of technology in the short term, let's say 2 years, but then we tend to underestimate its impact in 10 years' time. And so therefore, I, as somebody who tries to help UK businesses in adopting these technologies, I see quite close by that certainly there's lots of stuff has been mentioned in this webinar in the enterprise side, in the business to business side that is happening, but the business to consumer side, it will take a while, and it will take a very elegant technological solution, much better than we've seen before. So even now, even if technically some of the VR headsets, for instance, are very capable, but they are not really conducive to different head sizes, different interpupillary distances that people have. And so there's lots of those kinds of barriers to adoption, and just people are not accustomed to that. They don't necessarily feel comfortable putting a screen on their faces. So it has to become almost transparent. And then this comes down to very sort of practical technological advances. So for instance, the whole AR glasses debate and discussion is very much predicated that there really isn't yet display technologies quite that could sort of in a high resolution with a broad field of view show as 3D objects through glasses like this, or your regular sunglasses that you wear. And so that's like at least 5 to 10 years away. And people have been saying that for the last 5 to 10 years. It's always 5 to 10 years away. So
Yeah.
and even then, there will be generations of products. So if you look at a company like Apple and how they introduced, for instance, the watch, the very first watch was very dependent on the iPhone as a processor and as a computing power. But now they're on their whatever fifth, sixth product generation, and now this watch is just like standalone technology and very powerful. So if a company like Apple introduces AR glasses, or Google, it's most likely that the first iteration is this for early adopters. It's quite expensive. It doesn't quite do. It needs a phone or something like that to really operate. And only when, as with smartphones, only when the application ecosystem, the people who make the stuff and the content and the services, when that starts to pick up and where that starts then sort of generating need, and that brings the prices down and so on and so forth. So I guess my final just point is that we should, if for instance in your region, if you have the luxury of thinking that okay, let's invest in education that helps people to learn how to make applications for this sort of so-called spatial computing or XR or MR, whatever you want to call it, then if you have like a 10-year sort of trajectory to think about it in such a long sort of period of time, then you're in a good place to let's start sort of learning these technologies. So when eventually when they become affordable, we have a base of creators and technologists who can make this stuff, and then we can make an impact to the world. But of course, that's not simple. That needs resources in terms of technologies to kit and stuff like that. But on the other hand, there's lots of content generation tools. There's like real-time game engine software like Unity and Unreal that you use to make these things, and those tend to be free. So if you have traditional computers, if you have smartphones capable with AR, you can start making stuff with relatively low resources, especially in educational institutions. So I would encourage to make those small investments and try to get students, young people to make stuff, and that will then pan out for the longer term future in a good way, hopefully.
Dr. Akhai, I want to ask one question. A layman just like me, how I can utilize these technologies? Just like I'm a common man, how I can use this?
Well, of course, I mean, yeah, that's really the mainstream adoption question, that what are these technologies good for? Like that, okay, do they add value for you personally? Do they make something more convenient? And I think the blunt answer at the moment is that for most people, they don't. For instance, something like smartphone AR, it's a gimmick. It like let's say that I can look through this phone to the night sky and see the stars, the constellations. That's great and it's really impressive. But will you be doing that every day? Does it solve? Unless you're like a astrologist and interested in that, if that's not your hobby, you're not going to do it every day. And so we need to get to a point where these sort of everyday applications provide additional value that is sort of better in every way that, let's say, a traditional map application, for instance. And again, we're not quite there yet. And before that, it's sort of more sort of niche communities. It might be gamers, it might be people who enjoy like experimental theater or whatever. There's lots of applications and stuff like that and experimentation going on. But to be honest, the sort of mainstream applications, it's hard for me to now sell you a specific thing. I mean, there's one, for instance, at least in the West, we have IKEA and Amazon have some of these sort of product AR applications where you can see that, okay, does the shelf fit into the corner of your house? Because it's a in real physical proportions, the bed or the shelf or whatever product. So there's some value, but again, how many times in a year are you buying a new shelf or a sofa? It's again, it's not like an everyday thing. So yeah, just getting into that place where we would engage with these technologies on a daily basis, it's going to take a while.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sir Waleed, I would like to ask you how we are going to embrace the industry and the educational system and move on to these technologies more efficiently. And last comment over the all this discussion we have already have done.
And I want to ask one question: how we can utilize these technologies in media industry?
As I've told you before, we are going to change the scenario of the way we produce things. And we are actually right now at the moment providing virtual reality features in most of our programs. And you cannot, if I'm not permitted to name them, but you cannot even uh, you cannot even virtually or in reality make a difference between what is real and what is virtual. We are mixing it with it, and we are saving a lot of money right now because we are using all VR equipment and technology uh, as far as at the moment available to us from different companies. And this is how we are changing. And our next step is to completely wipe off human interaction in the newsroom. And there are examples I cannot show you right now, but there is a Chinese TV channel I have seen that is completely based on augmented and virtual reality system. And they are showing a host with real-time rendering, and the host is all CG character. And every time the host is changed, his or her clothing are changed, and they can do it in real time. And they are successfully running their channel. The disadvantage and the dark side of this is they are really impacting the employment ratio and the hiring of the real kind of hosts. But because the voiceover is there, so the impressions, even they are also copying the facial expressions of that host, and you can resemble that host with the character, but the host is not there. So the CG character is now making its identity right now. So with the help of these technologies, we are implementing such things. And of course, we can do it in other areas as well. I have number of examples for them.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir Adnan, I would like in last, how do you feel that discussion already have done? It's in a progressive side, and what steps should take the education institution towards these technologies?
Also give some suggestion,
Okay,
recommendation as well.
yes, yes. Basically, I'm basically studying artificial intelligence, and there are is a very vast field, more than 14 fields of artificial intelligence right now. Global, our total 56% of total revenue provided by the artificial intelligence. And for artificial intelligence, the number one tool is TensorFlow. And then if you are going to teach students TensorFlow, Python, and strong mathematics, statistics, then they can go artificial intelligence, they can go towards statistics or towards data sciences. They can forecast different business intelligent models. Okay, I'm going to share my lecture with you after this presentation. And that lecture depicts how artificial intelligence cut human interventions, and how they decide. There are different models, and just like the deep learning model, in which hidden layers, a lot of hidden layers are involved, is more accurate and more intelligent than the human mind as well. Right now, I'm working on various projects, just like Google Analytics as well, even OBS systems like that. There are multiple systems. So these are all depend upon experiment of artificial intelligence in the real world. Basically, what you have to do, you have to create a bridge between a software engineering, software the developers and the industry. If you are going to take on board the software engineers who works on artificial intelligence and augmented reality or VR, or these are this is the best way to improve your business, to improve the market share in the real world, because every business is on the web, or everything is on the web, and then you have to work efficiently. I have developed a very good video with you for your webinar. You can share my video with your students, your colleagues as well, and that depicts each and everything. What is the best way? Now, number two, in near future, in 5 to 10 years, you will see smart homes, okay, smart electricity, smart cars. Uh, it's 101% depend upon artificial intelligence and Internet of Things. In the new Internet of Things, I have stated in my second master's, Internet of Things is pure related with artificial intelligence. If you know Internet of Things, you can create a smart. Each and everything is smart. You can basically convert your artificial or your air condition into a smart air condition. You convert your fridge into a smart fridge. You can convert your microwave into a smart microwave. So everything is now associated with artificial intelligence. You have to change the curriculum with the permission of HEC and improve AI-related courses, improve mathematics, improve applied statistics. Then you can easily launch at the same time AI, data sciences, and IoT-based subjects, degree programs. But you have to indulge. You have to add professionals from software industry as well. They can teach practical subjects to the student for 7th semester and 8th semester. Ji.
Thank you so much for all of our panelists, especially Dr. Akai Javinan. He gave us time and being with us. Mr. Walid Khanvi, he's a very creative director of a renowned TV channel. Dr. Adnan Alam is again the HOD of a well-known university. Thank you, all of you, being with us. And this is Sayyid Muhammad Kashif and Dr. Sabir Ahmed signing off here today from Greenwich University. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, everyone.